Hey, well, hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening. Liam Hartree here today with another episode for the Simply Inspired podcast. And today I'm truly blessed and truly honored to have a very, very special guest on the show. Today's guest, ultra trail runner, Caroline Chaverot. I hope I'm saying that the right way. Um,
Perfect.
oh,
Hello,
wonderful.
everyone.
Got it all in one. And Caroline has competed in some of the toughest ultra races in the world, including Hard Rock 100, UTMB, the Eiger Ultra Trail, Madeira Island Ultra Trail, and is, of course, trail running world champion. She balances all of this around working professionally as a teacher as well. So today we are going to be finding out not only about running, but also about the mindset that it takes to compete in such an extreme sport. So, Caroline, thank you so much for making the time for this today. It's an absolute pleasure to speak with you. Thank you.
Well, welcome. I'm very happy to speak with you.
Excellent, excellent. So you've achieved a great deal. You've achieved that. We will talk about the past, we'll talk about the present and the future. But before we do, I have to ask, how do you maintain competing at such a high level around everything else in your life, including your teaching profession, your family, everything else that you have going on? How do you maintain the rigors of such extreme training and conditioning around everything else in your life, please?
I think I was very organized. I have I had always to think about how next day will be and to manage that everything fits in a day. So I had to train, to work for my school, to take care of my kid, and it was very nice but very intense. And never time to relax, and sometimes I could relax, but not very often because with three kids, every mom knows that you have very busy days. But then I had to think about training. First, I did not train that much. In 2013, when I won CCC and the 80 kilometer of Mont Blanc, I trained only 4 days a week, and I did not do as many as long run as you wouldn't think for long races. Um, the longer runs the longer runs I did was maybe 4 hours. Sometimes one time a week I run for 4 hours, but then I trained only one hour and a half, because I could not and I could not have the time to train for more. And also I did not really want, because I was a young trail runner. I was not that young, but for in trail running I was quite young, and I was scared about injured myself. So I maintained my training at a low pace, and then I wanted also to have time with my children. But then I increased the volume of training, and in 2015, 2016, I trained more. And then I think it was a bit too much, because in 2016 I wanted to train a lot to be able to run UTMB, and it was maybe too much, because if you train a lot but then you rest and you can relax, it's okay. But I had never that time to relax, because when I got back from training, I had to go to work or to cook for my children, to take care with them. And then I think I overstepped my limit, and that's why I got tired afterwards. I hope my English is not too bad. I'm not so often the occasion to speak English.
Your English is very good, very good. And, I was just thinking that actually, that to do an interview in a language that is not your first language is very brave thing to do, so well done. But no, your English is very good. And you have a
Um,
lovely, lovely accent as well. I've
I,
enjoying. listening to you. So
Thank you.
yeah, please don't worry. Very good, very good. And thank you as well for such an informative description, because as I mentioned to you, I do these interviews to mainly to inspire people, you know. So hearing about the lessons you've learned along the way is a wonderful thing. If we look back to that time when you started running to a higher level, at that time, did you expect to achieve as much as you've gone on to achieve now when you first started?
No,
Or were you just enjoying learning about it and trying it out, if that makes sense?
I never expected to achieve such great races. At first, in fact, before I had children, I did some climbing, rock climbing, mountain biking, and hiking, but just for fun. Sometimes I run 1 or 2 a week, but not for competition, just little jogging. And then when I had my third kid, um, I had to lay in hospital before I had my third kid in 2011. I had a problem during my pregnancy, and I had to lay for several weeks in a hospital. And I was very frustrated because I had always liked to move, and then I couldn't move. So I began to think, what should I do when the children will be born? I want to do sport, but I won't have time. So maybe the best sport to be able to move a lot in a very few amount of time is running. So I say, okay, when Noe is my third child names, when he will be born, I will start running more, because it will be the only sport I can do with three very young children, because I had 3 children in 3 years, so I was very busy. And first I started to run once a week, then twice a week, then 3 times a week. And suddenly I saw a little flyer for a race, which was nice next to my home, the Trail du Salève. It's a mountain trail. There are different courses. And I say, okay, I can try a trail. It will be fun. It will be an objective. I can try to achieve this trail. It was a 40-kilometer trail. Maybe I was a bit optimistic, because run 40 kilometers when you just gave birth to a child, and I didn't have a lot of experience about running, but I did this trail. It was very difficult, more difficult than I had expected, but I went to the end. And I was very happy with that, but I thought, trail running is too hard. I'm not sure I want to do another trail. But 2 weeks after, I did a 20-kilometer trail. I was not very fast at that time, but it was fun. And then I did several trails like that in 2012. And I say, okay, this winter, between 2012 and 2013, I will train more, and I will try to do longer trails. And that's how everything began. But I was not a fast runner. I had no past in running. So I never expected I could become good. I just think, okay, it's fun, and I will do some races just for fun.
That is amazing, to be honest, because I think it's incredible how much you've achieved. But when it started, you know, you never expected it. That is a wonderful thing. And again, it goes to show people, if you put your mind to something and believe in yourself, you can do it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I remember the first, I decided to know more about training, because I knew nothing about training. So I bought myself the book of Paula Radcliffe, which is a very famous marathoner, and I read it like 10 times. I read every page, I studied, and I think about training, and I try a lot of different way of training, but I never had a coach. I just, because when I won CCC in 2013, there was a French coach. He said me, okay, I can train you for free. So it would have been a good opportunity. But the problem was when I was a mom with working, I could not follow a plan. I never could follow a plan because I never, when I was in vacation with my kids, I never wanted to have a plan to follow. The priority was to do nice activities with my kids. The morning we went for a walk, for biking, and then when I got time, I go to training. But I never had. I think when you have when you want to put your family first or your work first, you can't put everything first. So you have to make choices. And for me, the choice was family before training. But I could train, but I had to be flexible, to just adapt myself to the the timetable, the schedule. With the schedule I had. I'm not sure it's very good English, but
No, it's good. It's good. Please don't worry. If anything was a problem, I would say to you. But honestly, it's
okay.
very good. I understand everything that you're saying. And as I said before, you actually have a really nice accent. So as I'm listening to you, it's actually very relaxing and very calming, your voice, So very, very good. But I think it's amazing how you, as we say, juggled everything around family and work and training all together. It's amazing. So obviously with your running successes, you've had a lot of them. Now, it would be wonderful to talk about them all, but we will be here until next week, I think. So the best thing I can do to condense this down is to talk about the ones that are your favorite ones, your personal
Ah,
favorite victories and the ones that you enjoy the most, they're the most special to you. Which ones out of all of the races you've had, many, many races, which ones stand out as being your personal favorites, please?
I think the best course was Madeira Ultra Trail. We were quite unlucky because it was very bad weather and it was very muddy. During the race, it was raining during the night and then very beautiful wet weather during the day. But the days before, there was a storm. So it was very muddy, but still it was a fantastic course on a fantastic island. And I think I ran pretty fast that race. And it was nice from the first kilometer to the last. And it's very rare for a race. Lots of races are very nice, but they are often not nice from the start to the end. There is always a section which is not so nice, and you just have to run it because it's on the way. But the Madeira Mute, if I would recommend one race, it would be Mute. Another race which I enjoyed very much was the Eiger Ultra Trail in Switzerland. It was also fantastic. Every part of the course was absolutely fantastic. It was also very special for me because I wanted to have an assistant, a helper, a crew, well, as you say in English. But when I got there, I understood that the crew would have to take some ski lift to go to do the assistance, and it was very complex. And the night before the race, I phoned to my crew and I said, okay, don't come. I will do it on myself. But I need not have a plan for feeding myself by myself. And I was very proud because I did a great time without any crew, and I managed it very well. So it was never hard. During all the race, I felt good. And it's pretty rare because all my other long races, there was always a moment when it was hard, when I suffered. Courtney de Walter talks about pain cave. So it's a moment in which you really feel bad. But this Gay Ultra Trail, it was a race I never felt bad I always felt fantastic from the first kilometer to the last. And I think it was the only long race when I run like that. But also after my biggest victory for me, maybe I think it's the UTMB, because I think I was not a very long race person, because also I never had the time to train for a very long race like this. Courtney de Walter, she's really fantastic, but she's a professional and she won since a long time ago, and she did plenty of long races. So she's very good when it's very long. Also, Andrea Hauser, it's a Swiss runner. She was very strong. She died, unfortunately, but she was also fantastic when it was really long, because she get down after 10,000 meters elevation. She was still able to run very, very fast, to run down very fast. Me, I think after 120 kilometers, it was a bit my limit. So UTMB, it was too long for me. And I had to fight against myself during the last part of the race. I think after Col Ferret, you know where it is? After Grand Col Ferret, it began very hard for me, but it's long to get to Chamonix. So I was very, very proud, because not only because I won, but also because I could fight and stay strong until the end. I think maybe it's the race I am the most proud of.
It's a wonderful description of the races. You know, listening to you, it felt like I was there as well in a way. Like your description, you know, is so wonderful. I can picture it and visualize it. But that is a wonderful, wonderful description. And talking about what you mentioned there as well, in terms of the fighting against yourself and pushing through the pain cave, the barriers that come. I think it's very interesting to talk about this, not just for running, but for life as well, because anything we do in life, there will be a time we hit that wall and we have to push through, you know? So how do you do that mentally and emotionally to keep pushing to finish the race? What is your process for that, please?
I think the most important thing is to, for example, in UTMB, at a moment, my muscles were completely broke, and the downhill were very, very painful. But at the moment, I decided to ignore the pain and to go away very fast, and just to say, okay, I feel a lot of pain, but I have to put it aside and to think at my goal. And I think its life is the same. For example, me, since I stopped running at a high level, I started writing, and I write a lot. I really love that. But it's the same with writing. It's difficult to write a book, because sometimes you have a lot of thought, but it's difficult to convert that thought into words, and then you achieve your book, but you find not you want to publish it, but nobody's interested with publishing it. And you have to be perseverant and to believe in yourself, and to not get the difficulties let you down. And that I think it's a mindset. For some people, it's natural. They are born like that. They are optimistic, and they believe in themselves in an incredible way. But for me, it's more a work. I have a lot of will, and I don't always believe in myself, but I believe that when I start something, I want to finish it, and I want to finish it well. I'm a perfectionist, I think. I want to be good in everything I do. But I'm not the most talented, I think, person. But I am a worker, and well, yes, when I start a race, I wanted to be able to finish it, and I had a lot of I put pressure on myself, but it helps a lot to put pressure on yourself. There is just a limit you have not to overcome. No, not to overcome. To go beyond that limit. Sometimes it makes you tired. That always put pressure on yourself, and I think in trail running, maybe I got tired also because of this pressure I put on myself.
Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. It's fascinating to hear about the process that goes on inside of you because people don't see that, you know. I mean, your family, they will see it, but the people watching the race and everything, it's the side of things they don't see. So very inspirational, very, very good wisdom and knowledge as well for people to use in their lives. So thank you very much with that. I have to ask about your book as well. What is happening with your writing now in terms of the process of the book
Ah,
you're writing about
I
your life?
I always like to write. To write some novels. It's not about myself, which I write. It's a novel, and I am. Since I stopped running, I really found the inspiration. So I wrote 2 books for children, and then I decided to write an adult book. And then now I finished a book, and it will be published in end of September. I found an editor, so I was very happy of. And but it's really it's like 200 pages, and it's yeah, it's really a novel. It's not a biography, but for me, it was very nice to start writing, because when I stopped running, I missed to have a goal. I always wanted to have goals in my life, and suddenly I had no goals. And for me, it was a bit violent to lose the goal, to lose that feeling of you wake up in the morning and you think about your goals, and yeah, it was very exciting, and suddenly I lost that. And writing, it's about the same, but writing is very sedentary. You are sit on your table and you write, so I could not do that every day, all the day. I also need to be out, and I continue to train, but I just train for fun, not for being a champion.
Absolutely. Well done on getting the publishing
Yeah,
contract
I'm
and your
very
book,
happy.
yeah, being out there. It's wonderful news to hear that. And as I said earlier, you put your mind to something, anything is possible, you know.
Yeah,
So I did not know that. I did not know that you are an author as well. So what a wonderful achievement to have, you know.
yeah, I'm very happy.
Yes,
Now I start to write another. Um, how do you say in English? It's a police book, you know, like
detective,
investigator. Yeah, how do you
detective,
say?
yeah,
Detective
detective.
book. Yeah,
Yes, that's it.
it's very fun too. I really like that.
Absolutely. That's fantastic that you're having so much success and you're enjoying, as you say, having new goals and new
Yeah,
dreams to chase, you know. I'm very happy for you with that.
I
And
think it's very important. Huh? Just a little thing. My father is 81, and he has still goals. And I think it's why he's so young and so happy in life. When it's not easy to become old, but if you still have goals, I think you are getting older less fast. Huh? You stay young, And it's very important. I could not live without any goals. It can be in the sport, but I think you can find goals everywhere.
Absolutely, you can. Yes, you always have to have purpose, always
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
something to
yeah,
strive for. I personally agree. I believe that age is just a number, as they say, and it's very much in the mind,
yeah.
it's not in the body, not really, So that's a very good life lesson as well for people. Very, very good. So one other thing about the races as well, to touch on one or two more things there. You mentioned about a couple of them being, from the first kilometer to the last being enjoyable. If we flip that on its head, what was the one with the toughest terrain, or the one that was the most challenging? Because you made a career out of, well, tough races, really, some of the most challenging in the world anywhere. So in your own mind, what was the one where you had to push through the most in terms of the terrain and in terms of the environment, your mindset, everything like that, please?
There are quite a lot. Huh? It was not always easy for me to run. I remember in Saint-Élion, it's a very flat race between Lyon and Saint-Étienne, or Saint-Étienne and Lyon. And it's in the night, and it's in December, so it's very cold, and it's very flat. And I was a bit new in trail running, and I decided to go to this race, but I never trained for the flat. It's very different when I was quite good at uphill, downhill, and then it was flat. And when it's flat, you have to run fast. And I started this rain. It was very cold, like -10 or I don't know. And I was not dressed enough, not enough layers on me. And I started very fast. And suddenly, in the middle of the forest at in the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a huge cramp, and I was like stuck on. I couldn't move one step forward. Suddenly, it was very sudden, and it was so cold. And the runner was passing behind me, and nobody stopped to say, "Hey, are you okay?" And suddenly I got so cold, I couldn't take my blanket, survival blanket. I couldn't take my layers. We had some mandatory gear, but I couldn't grab it because it was in my bag. And I thought I would die. And hopefully one runner stopped. It was very nice because he had to stop during his race. And he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I can't move, and I can do nothing. I think I would die." And I say, "Okay, I will help you." He gave me my emergency blanket and some layers, but still I was shaking, and I couldn't do a step forward. It was incredible. And we called the organization, and they said, "Okay, no, we can't get you in the forest. You have to walk." But I say, "Okay, I can't walk." And he had to carry me, the runner. He was very, very nice because he had to drop his race because he also get cold because he was helping me, and he got very cold. And after, I don't know, maybe 1 hour, I got to an aid station, and then the med can help me. But my body temperature got very, very low, and I was really in hypothermia. Maybe it was the scariest experience of my trail running career, but also in the hard rock. Hard rock is a very bad memory for me, but remember for me, it was a bit the same. I was very good at this race. I started very fast. I was very, very in great shape, and but suddenly in the middle of the night, my pacer lost me. I was putting my confidence in him, but he was he was not capable of helping me correctly, and he lost myself. If I would have been alone, I think I would not have lost like that because I had a GPS, and I started to look at my GPS, but he said, no, I know the way. And we lost ourselves. And suddenly we were in a very steep mountain, and he fell, he broke his arm. And I found the right way. Finally, I got help for him, but then I continued. But this adventure, we lost, we maybe do, I think it was, I don't remember, but 500-meter elevation too much. It lasted 3 hours. And then in the middle of the night, why we got lost, I couldn't eat and drink. So I got very, very tired. And then to finish all the course, I was very tired and I fell constantly and I broke a rib. It was really a bad broke. And then I arrived to the end of the hard work, but in a very bad time, because I had this law. I lost myself, and I lost like 3 hours, and then I was very slow and with a broken rib. So it was not a very good memory. It was a pity because I had prepared a lot for hard work, and then this pacer, because of him, I was tired and disappointed, and I couldn't recover in good time to be in shape for UTMB. So it was also an extreme experience.
Well, to do what you do, you have to be a very brave soul, and because I understand it with the toughness of the race itself, but these other aspects that come into it, if you lose your way, if somebody makes a mistake, these other things, very, very brave, to be doing this. Sorry for the bad memories with those, I
No,
I
it's forgotten now, but it was quite frustrating
yeah.
because I had another pacer, and then this pacer who lost me, he wanted absolutely to pace me. And I think if you insist to pace somebody, you must be capable of finding the right way. And then he insisted a lot to pace me, and I didn't want. I want to go with another pacer. And then it was a bit a disaster. Huh? But yeah, I think, when you lose yourself in a race, maybe it's also very extreme. I got lost in a lot of races, but sometimes when you lose 5 minutes, but it's okay. But when you lose 3 hours, that's pretty hard. Huh?
Yeah. Well, taking that to a lighter note, as a more positive note, then to move from that, with the races that you have won and you've done very well with those, in terms of the recognition that you achieve, and I know that you're doing it for your own reasons, really. But how do you feel about being a running champion, being recognized, doing interviews like this as well? Because obviously you're a very humble person, but you've achieved so many great things. So how do you respond to being basically famous and very well known in the running world,
Well, sure, it's very nice. Huh? It's good for the self-esteem. I'd always had a bit of problem with self-esteem. Like I think a lot of women have problem with self-esteem because sometimes we are always to be modest, but sure, it's very nice when you are recognized, when you do some interview. I enjoyed it a lot, huh? And it was not so easy afterwards, but sometimes you feel a bit forgotten. The races, it's continue without you. It's life, huh? But sometimes you say, hey, I also want to continue, but I had to stop because of health problem. But still, it's very nice. The only thing I think I got it increased the pressure I put on myself because I didn't want to disappoint people when I raced. a lot of people write to you when you are well known. A lot of people, they write to you, hey, good luck for tomorrow. I follow you. Caroline. And then you want, I didn't want to disappoint them. Huh? But yet it was very nice.
Well, I know you say you don't want to disappoint people, but I believe you, it's the opposite of that. You inspire a lot of people.
Thank you.
I believe this, and I believe that you show a lot of people what's possible, as we've mentioned. In many ways in these races, you were like the underdog, if you know what I mean with this. I think it's so cool that you're winning and you're showing people what's possible. Absolutely incredible. Never giving up and everything. So, and as I've said before, not just with running, but with life, if whatever people are doing, if it's their businesses, their education, a different sport to running, whatever dream they're chasing, these lessons that you've shared show that it's possible for them. So I really think that is what you do, is never to disappoint anyone, no, to inspire them, is very much. So I'm actually going to ask you that as one of the last things, is for those people out there who are chasing their dreams, they're chasing their goals. You've mentioned a few things during this talk which are very good for them. But if you had to say to somebody listening to this, they want to get started with their dream, what would you say to those people? Maybe one or two, it's a big question, I know, but maybe one or two things to narrow it down that would help
I
them.
think look at the pleasure first and don't compare you too early with the best of the world. Do it for yourself and look at your progress and don't compare yourself too much with the best in the world. Just look at your achievements and don't. It's a paradox because I became good quite fast. Not, I didn't have to run too long, too many years before being good at the running races. But still, I never expected to. First, I was always happy. I finished a race, my first race, I finished fourth. The second race, I finished sixth. Cerdinal, I did it in 2012. I finished 40th. I was always happy because I never think I would be better. I was happy to race. And I think the happiness is the more important. And I think even when you are very good, try to be happy just to race and to not to be disappointed if you don't achieve exactly what you want. I think it's a more better advice I could give.
Well, that's wonderful advice. It's, as I mentioned before, really good for people who are
Yeah.
wanting to achieve anything. And as I said before, I know you're a very humble person, but you've achieved so many great things that you're in a wonderful position to give that advice. We'll wrap this up shortly. Before we do, one other small thing I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind me asking, if your children ever wanted to go into to running and competing themselves, is it something that you would encourage them to do, or is it something that?
Yeah, but it's the case. In fact, my I have three children, and the two oldest, they did a lot of cross country skiing, but now they quit and they want to race. My daughter, she want to do track and field. She do like 2,000-meter races to 100,000. And I think when they're young, it's better not to increase the distances too fast. I say to her, okay, run fast, learn how to run fast, and don't go too early on very long race. But it's good because she want to do track and field. But my boy, he's only 12, but he also He already speaks about doing UTMB. He say, okay, at 20 years, I want to be UTMB. I want to be an ultra trailer, yeah, like you, mom. And I always say him, no, it's not a good idea. When you are young, you are fast, and stay on short races, because long races are very hard. Kilian Jornet had won the UTMB at 20 years old, and he's also very fast, but not everybody is like Kilian. Kilian is exceptional, but for most people, I think it's good to stay on shorter race when they are young, because also it's for the mind, for the body, it's very hard, the long races. But so I think if you can enjoy yourself on 10, 20, 30-kilometer race, it's fantastic. But in fact, it's a bit strange, I think, because now it's the value, the scale of value is a bit odd, I think, because now you speak about short race if it's a marathon race, but in fact it's not very short, 40 kilometers. I think too many people want to do very long race, but it's not very good for the body.
Mhm. There's some interesting advice with all of that. I understand where you're coming from. Do you still run for pleasure, for your own enjoyment? You do as well.
I run, or I do bike
Uh,
every day. I think, yeah, every day. Even if I am tired. No, I have also learned from track and field runner. Track and field runner, they do a lot of very slow run. For example, my daughter, when she race at 20 kilometers per hour. But if she trains, she's at 6 minutes per kilometer slow run. No, I've learned that. And before, when I was running, when I was tired, I did nothing. I just rest. But no, even if I am tired, I go for a slow run, and it's very relaxing, very cool. And in fact, I think it's better than doing nothing. So I run every day, or I bike, or both.
well, at least you're doing it now in the relaxing way,
Yeah.
and everything. But that's lovely to hear, and I'm happy to hear that everything is going well for you with the family, with your book, with everything that is happening. So we'll wrap this up. Very last question is only a small one. To the people who encouraged you, you mentioned earlier that people would message you saying good luck and all of these type of things. Some people listening to this, maybe they're hearing about you for the first time, or maybe they hear a little bit about you and now they know more. But some people listening to this will know you very well and they will have followed the races. So to those people who gave you that support, what would you say to those people, please?
Thank you for all the nice words. Also, the very kind. I was always surprised, and my husband said always, "Oh, look at how people are nice with you." I had to drop some races in my career, especially at the end, because I got tired, and I had to drop. And people were always very nice. They had kind words, very compassionate, and I got very few people who criticized me. They were always, yeah, very kind with me, and I would like to thank everybody for that, because it's very important when you feel people support you. It's yeah, it has no price. It's fantastic, and I would like to thank people for that. Maybe I just thought about one advice more. I forgot, and maybe it's the most important. I think I got tired also because I trained too fast. And had a few times, so I always wanted to make a lot during this few time, and I trained too fast. And I think I put my too much pressure on training also. I think pressure is good. Fastness and pressure are good for racing, but when you train, you must to train slow. And when you do intervals, you do them fast. But most of the training must be done slow. And that's something I learned now, but I didn't do it when I trained, and it was a mistake.
Well, that is wonderful for you to share that, because it's good to have the running specific knowledge as well, and for people to learn from things that you did well and not, for lessons you learned the hard way as well. So it's a wonderful thing. Thank you for sharing that. In actual fact, thank you for everything you shared today, and thank you for taking the time to do this, not in your first language as well. Very brave, very good job. So well done. And thank you for being an open book, as they say with the phrase. You know what I mean? And sharing everything from inside you. So I'm very grateful for your time.
Thank you, Liam, and sorry for the bit timetable. It was not very correct.
That's okay. That's okay. It's a small thing, because occasionally it happens, and I just wait like 10, 15 minutes, and people usually pop up, so it's not a big thing. Don't worry. I'm very happy with the interview. It has exceeded my expectations. Honestly, I mean that. So,
Thank you.
I'm very grateful. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.